Well, hello there. I'm Pete LaFrance, the Old Growler. Welcome to Meeting Expectations. If this is your first time here, what we do is we take a look at a can of beer or a bottle of beer. We read what's on the label. We take a look at the label, the artwork as well, see what the brewery is trying to sell us, what the distillery is trying to sell us. Then we crack it open and see if it meets expectations. But it takes 3 steps to do that. The first, we always use the same style of glassware. That way no beer has a heads up as far as checking for clarity or aromatics. Speaking of aromatics, most people when they do a tasting, they'll see, they'll sniff, they'll sip, and speak about it. What I do is I see, then I sip, then sniff, and speak about it. Why? Because sometimes the nose will fake out the taste receptors. I'll let Fred Dex, Master Sommelier, explain it all to you. He does it a lot better. And the third, I'll always take the temperature of the beer. Why? The temperature of the beer that you taste is very important because if it's a lager, it should be served in the mid-30s to the mid-40s Fahrenheit. If it's an ale, it should be served at around 50 degrees to 55 degrees Fahrenheit because ales are fermented at a higher temperature, lagers at a lower temperature, and so their flavor profiles are best enhanced by serving them at the proper temperature. The proper temperature for your beer can be found out by clicking right up there. All right. For those of you who have been here before, you know what to expect. Let's get started. Today, from the Whetstone Brewery in Brattleboro, Vermont, we have Off the Rails, an American Pale Ale. Off the Rails American Pale Ale. Let's see what they tell us about it. They tell us that, okay, it's a hybrid. Maybe it's electric and gasoline. I don't know. It's hazy. All right, a hazy New England beer. Fantastic. It's complex. And hoppy. All right. Our East Coast, West Coast hybrid. That's what they mean. Off the Rails IPA features generous dry hopping, capturing all of the spirit and of a delicious IPA and combining it with the complex flavors and slightly spicy characteristics of rye malt. All right, so there's some rye in here. That's interesting. And dry hopped. So yeah, when you dry hop, that puts a lot of aromatics because they're very volatile oils, and if you're brewing it, the heat can sometimes take those volatile oils and put them into suspension, but you don't quite get the aromatics. But if it's dry hop, you're going to get some aromatics. So I'm looking for a very aromatic, hoppy, aromatic beer. Also, a hazy. And what I'm looking for is a New England style pale ale, but an India pale ale, being that will certainly have a real bang of hops and a little bit of spice from the rye. Okay, a little bit of spice from rye. So we're looking for a lot of malt, but mainly a hop hit and a spice from the rye and a hazy beer. Let's crack it open and see if it meets expectations. For those of you who are the first time here, I'd appreciate it if you would click on the subscribe button and the bell. That way you won't miss any of our presentations, and comment. I'd really appreciate that, particularly on this beer if you're interested. Okay, it's got a nice little bit of smoke coming off the top there. Bring out our trusty glass. That's not as hazy as I thought it was going to be. Wait a minute, kids. Back the truck up. All right, it's throwing a little haze there, okay. But it's not a really creamy type of a haze that I was expecting. Okay, let's see, the ABV on this, 5.6, so it's not quite a session beer. It'll be a mild body, not a heavy body. And you can tell by the hops, the foam on top, the head, that it's going to be a relatively light-bodied beer. All right, first sip, cheers. Oh. Definitely malt. We got malt up to kazoo here. I'm waiting for the hops. I'm waiting. And waiting. Maybe they're in the aromatics. Let's take a wig. Let's take a nosedive. There they are. Wow. That is a nice green grass, kind of a little bit of blackberry, if you take blackberry leaves and rub them together. Yeah. Now you see, if I'd gone in with a sniff first, I would have been expecting a whole lot of hops. And there's not a lot of hops in the flavor. So, my little taste buds would have been disappointed. Another swig. Yeah. It's a nice malty beer. The hops are there, yeah, to keep it from being sweet. It's at that edge. But the aromatics. The hops there, boy. Oh, that's where you get it. So it's kind of a sneak attack. And I don't find that I don't have any problem with that at all. Nope, not at all. You start out with the nice refreshing, and then you get the aromatics, and it reminds you of what a dry hopped beer is supposed to be. All right, well, does Off the Rails American IPA from Whetstone Brewing Company in Brattleboro, Vermont meet expectations? Except for the haze, it certainly does. I'm Pete LaFrance, the Old Growler, hoping all of your beers meet expectations.